will be asking you difficult questions this time.
I would expect nothing more from our own community. So yeah, let's get in it. I'm excited.
All right then. So the first question is something that majority of the community has been asking for quite a while, and this is about the engagement method. So I'm going to read the question. Are there any methods of engagement from the team to maintain interest on the game so that NFT purchased or minted by buyer won't, or at least likely to face panic dumping situation?
The short answer is yes. I can't reveal too much. More will be revealed by the end of this month. But the short answer is yes. We're going to have a number of events that will occur. And those that made the whitelist and missed out on eggs are certainly going to have an opportunity, to win some cool stuff in the lead up to the game. There's going to be a lot of exciting, like I said, contests planned for people that, did get the egg hunter role and got an egg, and, people who have eggs and land, and, people who made the whitelist but missed out. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for, people to effectively get what we're calling golden tickets, so that when the game launches, you can kind of start, with, some nice starter packs and things of that nature as an initial starting point. Everyone hoping that we're going to do a, Cyber Kongs, mint bananas is probably going to be disappointed on that front. We're going to be much more focused on delivering gameplay features and, a lot of the engagement in between the time period of the egg and the land cells is going to be largely focused on prepping people such that they're going to be able to hit the ground running when the game does release in February.
All right. That's actually the majority of the, or rather, we do get that question a lot. The one that you answered just now. They wanted to know if there are other opportunities to participate should they miss out on this egg sale.
Yes. I would highly recommend that people stay active in Discord, both for this, what I called kind of a golden ticket idea. There will be limited one-of-one unicorn giveaways and things like this. And it's highly likely at some point we will take a snapshot of Discord favoring active people, favoring people who were here early and have stayed for future distributions. And I'll kind of leave it at that and let people mull that over.
Yeah, okay. That's great. I do have that on record, so I could help you with that.
Definitely ship it. I don't know how much of the engineering team is here today, but I have a plan that won't stress y'all out too much.
Okay, that's good to hear. Anyway, let's go back to the minting. A lot of people have actually been asking this question. You've also answered this in the Ask the Devs channel, but I think a lot of people missed out of that. So I'm gonna ask you again. They wanted to know why we chose to build on Polygon chain, considering the issues with Polygon.
Yeah, I assume you're kind of referring, or the community is referring to the Inversword issues that occurred.
Yep.
We've obviously, Polygon Studios is an investor in Laguna. That investment was not tied to us having to build on Polygon. I wanted to build on Polygon from the very beginning, having utilized Polygon daily in my own kind of quote-unquote degen trading efforts. And I've had a phenomenal experience with the network personally, and have seen it, from a fees perspective, to just be a much more viable environment to ship and launch a blockchain-based game, certainly than Ethereum mainnet. As far as the Inversword issues, I did reach out directly to the senior engineering team at Polygon, and they talked about the upgraded RPC gateway that they've added recently. And so if you followed our Medium blog post on how to set up and connect your EVM compatible wallet to the Polygon network, you would have utilized this high performance gateway, which should solve the issues that were experienced in the Ember Sword cell. So once again, I think we're set up for success in that fashion. And long term, I genuinely believe that Polygon is currently the most viable ecosystem to launch a gaming dApp on.
Okay, that's really great. They've really wanted to know the answer to that for a while.
Definitely. I mean, the space is rapidly evolving. You have these, Polygon is obviously a sidechain to Ethereum. You have options like all the roll-up solutions. You look at Arbitrum, you look at Optimism. Even on those roll-ups, you're still paying a few dollars per transaction, and that's simply not viable. I won't accept that as a it's simply too expensive. You can't do a microtransaction economy on top of that. Immutable X, I don't want to throw any shade. I'm not a huge fan of their IMX token, their 2% rake, and the fact that it's exclusively an NFT rollup. I wanted people and our community to have access to a whole ecosystem of dApps, and that's certainly available on the Polygon network. I mean, this year they went from something like 30 to 3,000. So the ability to kind of seamlessly enter an exit economy and go out and do other things in the blockchain space was really, really compelling to me. Versus, deploying in the Cosmos ecosystem or Solana, I've always really appreciated Polygon's Ethereum-centric approach. I think that will continue to, be a very valuable thing for them in the future and everyone that builds on top of them. So I'm not saying we have a silver bullet here or that I'm 100% right, but I am very confident in the reasoning behind why we chose to deploy to Polygon over other options.
Okay, I think that's a pretty good answer, and I think the community appreciates that. All right then, now let's move on to the next question. Since we are nearing the egg sale, a lot of the questions are actually related to the egg sale. So one of the questions actually is asking why we are selling at 0.1 ETH.
I will admit somewhat that we priced it when ETH was a bit lower than it is right now. And anyone who's been in crypto longer than 6 months knows that by Monday it could also be much lower than it is now. Just kind of the way it goes. I certainly reserve the right to apply a last minute discount, but we chose to price it at 0.1 ETH, and so far have kept it there. I think the way I see the current blockchain gaming market, is you have to seed an economy and you have to kickstart an economy. And one way to do that is going to be, well, we sell these eggs. Yes, they are a bit expensive. Some people will miss out. But the people who do purchase them and start playing the game are going to be the first people to kick off the breeding and the whole generative economy around these unicorn NFTs. And I would expect, obviously, there's 8 breed points a unicorn. Eventually, we hope to have tens of millions, hundreds of millions of unicorns in the world, right? And so it starts with the Genesis eggs. If you miss out on that sell, I wouldn't be too worried. The things the community needs to know is that land will be sold much cheaper than the Genesis eggs. So you can absolutely pick up a land plot if an egg is priced too high. You can start the farm sim. It's certainly not as efficient or productive without unicorns, but you'll be absolutely able to start playing the farm sim come February with just land. Wait on other people to begin to breed those unicorns and snipe one as it comes on the open market. So once again, I think we have to start somewhere. There's certainly been plenty of interest at that price, even as Ethereum has come up. And we've got a lot of partners that are very interested in not just flipping or dumping, but in being long-term participants in this economy. If you ask for like why pay the premium, I mean, one of the advantages is just going to be a day one, right? As long as you've got 2 eggs in a plot of land, you'll be able to, progress more rapidly than someone with just land or someone with just 1 unicorn and land. And so there's certainly going to be some advantages to that, and you can choose whether or not you want to pay that premium, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Thank you for answering. All right. Sorry about that. You mentioned that those people who are going to get Genesis eggs at the beginning would have advantage in starting the game early, but there are also those who want to ask if it's possible to stake the eggs from purchase up until the game launch.
In a fashion, it is not going to be the same as CyberKongz and other projects that are just allowing you to kind of mint these fungible tokens off of your staked NFT. I keep referring to them as golden tickets. There's going to be a lot more detail released shortly on that front, but we'll be doing some of these via giveaways, via community channels, socials, right? Discord, Telegram, Twitter, etc. A good chunk of them are going to go as airdrops to wallets on the network in particular that have not only purchased the assets, but are holding them. That's one of the benefits of the blockchain today is I can kind of immediately post the sell of the eggs, query the chain, and line up the wallets of our participants of the community that purchase these eggs, and we can obviously airdrop and reward them as a result of that. And so that is kind of the plan, and we'll be able to avoid people who are obviously just in it to make a quick buck. That's not what we're here for. I'm looking to build a really phenomenal generational IP, as I wrote in the white paper, and we're certainly committed to the long term. So if you're a community member that believes in that and wants to stick it out for the long term, I think you're going to have many moments in between the sell and the launch of the game to kind of be rewarded for having faith and sticking with it.
Okay. I do feel that a lot of the people in the community do have faith. I'm really just hoping. But right now I feel that they are invested in in wanting to know where you plan to take the project, because majority of them have also been asking as to what are the plans that we have in promoting the project, or if we have other interfaces with other companies.
Definitely. It's public knowledge that Gabby from YGG is an angel, or was an angel investor in our seed round. We're going to be working closely with YGG, GuildFi, and other gamer DAOs or player DAOs. And we're very excited to announce more and more of those partnerships in the near term. In addition, in addition to the 10,000 Genesis eggs, right, which hatch into the 10,000 origin unicorns, we've got this 99 limited edition one-of-ones, right? And so Dracula is probably the one that a lot of people have seen in the white paper. It is certainly one of the first one of the internally generated limited edition one-of-ones. In this case, there's only ever going to be 99. Some of them will be in-house generated. Obviously, we ran this phenomenal fan art contest, I guess a week or two ago. It all blurs together at this point. The Excel. I don't even know what day it is at this point. But we had so many phenomenal fan art submissions. Our team has gone through them and narrowed down to, I believe, a list of 10, and we're about to let the community vote. and whatever way the community votes, we'll pick that as the template for one of these limited one-of-one editions. So we'll both source from the community ideas, we'll have some ideas internally, and then lastly, we're going to be working with a number of brands as well as celebrities, and I'm actively working on a couple of very exciting collaborations, if you will, that will hopefully get announced sometime towards the end of this month, early December, and I think that will really be very exciting for the community once they figure out who else is kind of getting involved. The love of crypto unicorns is spreading wide and far. That's been very, very exciting to see. So anyway, I wish I could reveal more today, but there will absolutely be more juicy details in the near future.
Okay, so I guess we'll just have to wait for now. Alright then, let's move on to the next question. I believe that this has also been asked previously, but for the benefit of those who did not read it, it said, I have been informed that you will not be scrutinized by external auditors. How can you build investor trust? Because not everyone can read smart contract.
Yeah, absolutely. I can only tell people that we've worked with a number of engineers who have production level experience deploying smart contracts that have had millions of dollars put against them. We did and are running a small audit with Nick Mudge, who came up with the Diamond Standard and is very, very reputable in the industry. So that happens this weekend. And like I said, we internally have gotten to a point of confidence. Obviously, if we screw something up, it destroys our entire reputation, and we take that very, very seriously. Anyone who is ultimately too concerned should wait. That's the reality of it. The smart contract will be live. It will be on chain. If you're concerned or worried and can't read it enough to gain confidence, I would recommend waiting. From our side, we've tried everything that we can to put something forward that is secure and going to work well. I think the reality is I'd be a lot more nervous if we weren't using standard kind of off-the-shelf contracts that started from the Open Zeppelin ones. These are very tried and true and tested contracts, and we're not doing anything that I think opens up additional security concerns or potential attack vectors, I guess I should say.
Okay, that's actually very sensible. Thank you for answering.
So, and I would also point out many things that have been audited still get exploited. So it's we are still in the
Right.
wild west of the space, and from our side, we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that there are no issues, because all we have is our reputation of the community, our ability to deliver on promises to the community, and at the end of the day, we live or die by that. So we take it seriously. I don't want to come off as though I don't. Like I said, we've worked with a bunch of very talented engineers, demonstrated production level smart contract experience.
Okay, thank you for answering. All right, Aaron, I'm sorry, but I would have to go back to the egg sale.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there are some concerns about the time at which the sale is going to go live. Some of our friends from Europe are concerned that they're going to miss out because of the schedule. Is there any reason behind this, or can we make adjustments perhaps for our future sales?
So, yeah, I have to apologize to everybody in Europe. We did this rather democratically, and we looked at where people are at in the community, in Discord, where people are at that, made it into the whitelist. We ran several polls, and at the end of the day, we chose a time zone, or a launch window that would overlap with the majority of the community. But that certainly leaves out a chunk of people. Set an alarm if you want to participate, wake up, start mashing buttons, and we certainly hope that that goes well. To the point around the future land cells, so we're actually running the land cell and splitting it out over 3 phases, and one of the reasons for that is to do it at alternate times. And so the first land cell is actually going to favor the European time zone, certainly more so than it does now. So anyway, it's tough. You're never going to make everyone happy on that front, but we tried to pick where the majority could participate at a reasonable time. And like I said, the land cell will adjust. The launch window will be different. So we'll favor people in the European time zone, certainly for the first phase.
Okay, that's good news.
Definitely.
Yep. All right then. I think that for now we can go to the Ask the Devs channel because some of the listeners have started asking questions there. So first we have Chanty. Chanty is asking, what would you say are some of the biggest hurdles to overcome in the coming months? And how are we going to overcome these hurdles?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully as a team, we have collectively together, built, shipped, and live operated, multiple mobile titles, right? We were a mobile game developer before pivoting to the blockchain space. And so I have a lot of confidence that the team can hit what are rather aggressive goals and timelines, just given experience working together, experience with a tech stack that we've invested a lot of time and effort into over many, many years. And that goes a long way versus teams that are either starting from scratch or do not have live operations experience. So I think the biggest hurdles right now are just going to be finalizing a lot of the minutia of systems design, making sure that we have a really good handle on how the economy grows and scales over time. And just making sure that, in general, we've tested across platform, right? We've normally always shipped titles on iOS and Android, so that's, those platforms are ones that we're very familiar with the pitfalls that kind of come along with them. Really, I think the biggest hurdle for us is going to be web. Obviously, with our Unity front end, we can cross-deploy or deploy across platforms, rather easily. But making sure that we've really hammered on the web implementation and, properly QA'd it is going to be, I think, really, really important. So if there's any kind of thing that's going to, potentially trip us up, it'll probably be on the web. I say this, though, and I've seen a lot of the early work, and we've already done a lot of testing to ensure that WebGL is going to behave and do everything that we want it to do. So I have high confidence we're going to hit timelines and things. I think, we just need to be aware and cognizant that web is a new beast and treat it as such.
All right, thanks for answering. I hope Chanty is satisfied. All right, so let's move on.
If you're not.
Yeah, you can ping Aaron directly if it's not satisfactory. Alright, so now we have another question, and it says, is it possible to pivot to another chain if it's decided that Polygon is no longer the best option?
Yes, and I mean, as before, I'm a huge believer in the Polygon network. In a disaster scenario in which we had to, one of the reasons I chose Polygon is because it's EVM compatible. So it would be possible to, effectively hard exit that ecosystem and restart somewhere else. So there's certainly an opportunity to do so in the event that, a true disaster scenario occurs. Like I said, it was one of the reasons we chose the network in the first place. Going to ETH mainnet is probably a worst case scenario. I don't anticipate gas prices really ever get better on that front. Average users and dApps really, in my opinion, don't and won't live on ETH mainnet. They're going to live in whatever L2s ultimately end up being dominant. we're constantly watching the space. I spend every moment that I'm not building games with the team just participating in the blockchain space, participating in governance, trying out crazy, strategies and things. And so I've always got my eye out for, new ecosystems that might be a good fit. But once again, I think right now Polygon is, going to be a great place to start.
Okay, that's perfect. And by the way, Jenny says thank you for answering the question.
Very, very welcome.
Yeah, all right. So the next question is, I think some people are quite worried about, and it says here, we're still a few months away from the launch of the game. If the price of NFT drops below the release price during this period, do you have any solutions?
If it drops too far, I'm going to start buying up eggs. I think at the end of the day, and this is going to be negative probably for anyone that's looking to make a quick buck. I look at this space and say, we want to build a community of individuals that are purchasing these assets because they want to play the game. And if you're not here for that, I don't recommend you participating. Obviously, we've seen many projects start at certain prices and then collapse well below them. Oftentimes, that is simply an inverse of where Ethereum's price is headed. And I think in general, I would look at any dip in price as a really good opportunity to buy some cheap, either Genesis eggs or Origin unicorns to, kick off my own efforts in the game. So we'll certainly be watching to see what happens post the completion of the egg cell, and in particular, once people are able to kind of hatch their Origin unicorns, I'm going to be real curious to see how many people kind of keep them as eggs versus go ahead and hatch to see what they got, see the stats behind their unicorns. And I expect a lot of activity to occur as people look to kind of optimize their initial herd or kind of roster based on what kind of land they want to purchase and how they want to go about kind of strategizing and optimizing for the game's release. So price go up, price go down, it doesn't really matter to me. We're going to ship an awesome game. If it goes down too damn far, you're going to see me out there buying a good chunk of these things with my own personal fund just to kick off a breeding operation. So anyway, I hope that makes the long-term holders happy and potentially turns off people that are just looking for a quick flip. We're really looking for long-term people that want to participate in this community long-term. Like I said, really trying to build something big here, a generational IP, something that we all look back at and know that we helped to build it. And I think that's a really compelling thing that will benefit the people who are patient and willing to kind of stick with us through thick and thin.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for answering that. I hope Jinjin is satisfied.
Once again, my DMs are always open. You may not get an immediate response because I'm pretty busy building unicorns, but I'm pretty good at responding eventually.
Yep. All right then. So let's move on to the next question. The next question is actually about the fan art, and you've already talked about this earlier, but right now, I think the only part that we didn't cover was to whom will they belong?
We're talking specifically about the unicorn NFTs, correct?
Yeah, from the fan art.
Oh, absolutely. So when the community picks a winner of the fan art contest, their unicorn will be the template for the one of one, and that one of one will then be, given away to the community. I can say that participants who have been active in these contests are going to get other rewards in the near future. But as far as the limited edition one of one unicorn that will get generated out of the fan art contest, we'll be doing a giveaway to the community.
All right, then. I guess this question was meant to ask if it's going to belong to the one who made the fan art.
No, that individual will get a reward that I think will be rather exciting, but it will not be the limited edition one of one. That one will once again be given to the community in a separate contest.
All right, thanks for clarification.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, the cool thing is we're going to reach out to that individual and they will have a hand in naming it and things of that nature. So they're certainly going to get to make their mark on the crypto unicorn world.
Aaron?
I'm here. I couldn't hear you for just a second, so I may have cut out.
Oh, okay.
So if you asked a question, I didn't hear it.
Sorry about that. I think it was my internet.
Oh, no worries.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question. I think this is something everyone's interested in. They want to know when they will get to see a gameplay footage.
Very soon is the answer. That's likely going to be early December. I got a look at the first isometric view of the farm yesterday and was just completely blown away. So that will get shared kind of in the near future. And then, you're going to see gameplay footage throughout the month of December and kind of coming into January. And we're excited to kind of get reactions to that and feedback from the community as we kind of continue this process of iterative development with our community members.
All right, that's good. By the way, the same person asked another question, and this time he is asking about your past experience with gaming and why you closed down the previous company, because he said he could not find the games anymore in Apple or Google Play.
Yeah, for sure. I started my first company in 2009. It was a mobile gaming company. I was 19 years old at the time, and I really didn't know what I was doing at all.
Okay.
That was 11 years ago, though. So I ran that first company for 4 years. We shipped 7 iOS and Android titles. The 2 big ones were Lumi, which was Apple Game of the Week and Editor's Choice. You can find that YouTube videos of that one online. I'm very, very proud of that game. It's kind of like a Sonic meets Mario. Had a really cool vibe to it. We also ported Ravenwood Fair, which was a top Facebook game, actually built by John Romero, who real gamers should know by name. And we ported that over to mobile, which was another really exciting project that kind of got us into the free-to-play side of things. And then fast forward to 2017, I joined Beyond Games, which was kind of the predecessor company to Laguna. You want to see the games that we built while under the umbrella of Beyond Games, look up Battle Strike Force on YouTube. You're right, it's no longer on the stores, but I'm very, very proud of that kind of mobile strategy 4X game. And that was really several years back, and we've been able to drastically increase the fidelity of our experiences today. So What happened at the predecessor company is too long of a story to kind of go in, into right now. I think the TLDR is games are really, really tough. Myself and the team that's now at Laguna came into Beyond Games by way of a merger of another company called Americana Game Studio. We took a lot of work to pivot, the company to ultimately ship a game and live operate it for 18 months. Battle Strike Force had Sylvester Stallone as the face of it. I got to go and meet him. We did a really cool marketing promotion vid that was a lot of fun, and ultimately couldn't turn the corner before the company hit the wall. And so we decided, okay, we're gonna get rid of all the baggage from a company that we didn't found in the first place and start fresh with Laguna and a good chunk of the team. I was able to get the technical IP, from Beyond Games in the wind down, and that let us start with a team that had demonstrated experience working together, shipping and live operating a game over the course of 18 months. We got to start with all the tech and tooling that we'd spent many years at Beyond Games building. So anyway, I hope that's enough of an answer to kind of clarify things around our history, my history, the team's history, and where we're at today.
All right. So he is typing. I'm not sure if he has follow-up questions or... Okay, yeah. He said, yes, definitely. That's a great answer.
Cool. Yeah, games are tough. I've seen the ups and downs many, many times in my career. And I can tell the community here that it's been phenomenally exciting to see everyone, so excited and passionate about what we're doing here in Discord and in our Telegram and kind of growing Twitter communities. It's been an extremely positive reinforcement. I mean, we're and have been very excited in our pivot away from kind of mobile free-to-play to these, building these open, community-owned economies. And I think we're really onto something here. So excited to continue to work with the community to build something great.
Yeah. Actually, there is a message here, and he said, are you resting? Because he said, as a developer, I know that starting a startup is a very difficult process that requires a lot of effort and sleepless nights.
I will say that I actually kind of got to go to bed at a decent hour since I had to wake up at 5 a.m. my time to get enough caffeine in me to do the YGG AMA prior to doing this AMA. Shout out to the server team, the engineers working on the smart contracts. Those individuals have been putting in some ridiculously crazy hours to make sure that everything on Monday goes off without a hitch. So I really give a lot of credit to the team that has been pushing so hard across all departments from art to design to get everything everything together. As far as I'm concerned, I'm definitely getting enough sleep. I did have to take a nap yesterday for like the first time in a decade. It has definitely been a push. But we're close and excited to kind of kick off the first cell on Monday for sure.
Yeah, very excited. Okay. We do have another question. I believe that I did ask you the exact same thing before. Superiority is asking, why unicorns?
Yeah, I wanted to do something that was purposely a little ridiculous and kind of build an IP that had a very broad, appealing, friendly theme and style that didn't take itself too seriously. And I think part of that is historically we've built very serious games, like Battle Strike Force was a strategy MMO, right? Kind of modern war-esque in its theme and style, with kind of a little odd flair of like G.I. Joe thrown in. With Crypto Unicorns, we just wanted to build something that would make people smile, catch people's attention by being a little, ridiculous. It's one of the ways we came up with jousting. People ask why jousting, and I'm just like, because they're unicorns, they have ridiculous, and we're making a lot of decisions around that because we want to stand out. We want people to see us as being unique, and in a world where Bored Ape Yacht Club and crypto punks and cyber kongs and toads and every project that seems to the penguins, cool cats, right, that seems to have any level of success is kind of out there and on the edge and a little absurd. And I felt like crypto unicorns was going to be a great fit in that or in this kind of new world. And so far, I think we're seeing that thesis play out in really big ways.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? You mentioned that, yeah, you did mention about the other games. Actually, the next question is related to that. This person is asking, have you looked at any existing projects to learn from their model, what works and what doesn't?
Definitely. I think we've spent the most time with Axie, just given it's certainly the largest by, I would say at least an order of magnitude, if not several. And you can already see some challenges that Sky Mavis is kind of running into, the chief among them being the overproduction of SLP relative to the amount being burned in breeding. So, Jeff Witt, who is our lead designer and economist, he and I sat down really at the beginning and said, well, how are we going to, make an attempt at kind of building not only a large economy, but one that is actually sustainable over long periods of time. And when you really look at that problem, you bring in a lot of elements of like old school macro and microeconomics,
Yeah.
right? You want an economy that has, for example, a lot of specialization. And we kind of have that with the farm loops combined with these auxiliary battle loops. You may have people that, really get deep in the strategy of farming and trying to corner the market on resources and, are actively buying and selling against the Rainbow token marketplace, which kind of sits at the center of the farm sim and connects all players in the economy kind of together. You may decide, I just want to, do these jousting tournaments, right? I want to figure out the unicorns that are going to be the best at this tournament. I think that's a natural lead into racing. You may have people that specialize in one or the other or both. So anyway, having enough depth in the economy, both in terms of the number of inputs and outputs relative to what you can do, for example, with unicorn milk. So there's a lot of additional valuable uses for unicorn milk other than just breeding, for example. Another thing we kind of looked at, and I think Sky Mavis will solve this over time as they release more features, is the idea that you only need really 3 axes to start playing, and if you're looking to be competitive in PvP, which is kind of the primary source of their fungible tokens at this point, you really kind of need 3 axes that are the seasonal meta. And if you don't have that set, and many axes are not going to be of that set, well, they're not really that useful. And in crypto unicorns, you're always going to be able to utilize a unicorn on the farm. And I think that's going to create something that is a bit unique in the space relative to, many other titles. In that, as you grow and scale your farming operation, there's always a need for, additional unicorns. And if you find a unicorn that's like really good at racing, well, you probably shouldn't be utilizing it on the farm, right? You need to go and put it in various races and things like that. But even in between races, it can chill out on the farm. You can send it out on gathering quest and things of that nature. And so we wanted to create ways for economic specialization within the economy, utility for the NFTs via multiple gameplay loops, and really create multiple avenues of progression for players. So that's a long rant, but kind of hopefully gives the community a better idea of how we're thinking about approaching the space and how we're looking at. I mean, the thing I keep coming back to is this is brand new. No one really has the playbook. No one has the answers yet. And so we
Yeah.
tried to approach, hey, well, we're going to build an economy with a lot of levers that will enable us to hopefully keep it tuned, balanced, fair, and growing for the community over time.
All right, thank you for that. You did talk about the different loops earlier. We have one person from the community wondering how the balancing will come into play when it comes to the different loops, and if there are any rooms for exploits that we know of right now.
No known exploits currently, not to say that there won't be, and that's one of the reasons you need to put levers in place that allow you to kind of tune and balance over time. I think the TLDR and how to think about, in particular, once you've hatched your unicorns and you see their stats, is baseline stats are input into these algorithms that generate scores. If you've read the white paper, and these scores are really what are going to help you determine how your unicorn will rank, or how competitive, I guess, it will be in the various loops, right? So, for example, in jousting, right, different jousting arenas, based on class, will kind of have buffs and debuffs for unicorns being entered into them. We also have this idea of real-time weather, which is going to be a lot of fun, and the weather is like class-based. So depending on the track itself, as well as the weather that day, there's going to be a lot of flex in, what is going to be kind of the optimal unicorn to enter. And then, of course, as the field, as unicorns get entered into a race prior to its start, you're also going to know, okay, well, based on, other entrants, you may be able to kind of change your strategy there. So I don't know if that answers the question, but that's kind of my off-the-cuff response.
Okay, he gave a thumbs up.
Cool. There's going to be a lot more detail revealed via our Medium blog, and these pretty extensive guides that will help kickstart the community's efforts on this front. Obviously, we're going to leave a bunch of stuff, to mystery, so that the community can kind of figure things out, on their own, and that will allow, the first people who kind of figure certain things out, some advantage until it becomes kind of wider knowledge. As far as exploits and things are concerned, like I said, there's ability via power scores, like changing the algorithm, or tweaking, I guess I should say, the algorithm that ingests the stats of the unicorns, and produces a power score. But obviously we'll be extremely sparing and transparent with those changes, so that it's, above board and something that the community, at the very least, can weigh in on. Jeff Witt, myself, our design team, we're certainly the game masters here. But this time around versus free-to-play, there's incentive alignment. I mean, if we betray the community's trust, if we, tip the scale towards being exploitive in any way, people are free and clear to exit at any time. And that's one of the things that I think is really incredible in the space is, anyone can technically take these NFT primitives that we're, putting out in the world and build anything they want around it. And I find that really, really interesting. I think as a developer, we're going to try to encourage and have developers come and build on top of our existing tech and tools. And that's one thing we've already proven. We have several developers that are have licensed our tech and are building on top of it. And it's been able to prove to us that we can bring other teams on over time to help us build additional auxiliary loops and things of that nature. And that's the dream, right, is that we can kind of expand our capacity to bring new and exciting experiences to the community, in partnership and, in co-development with external developer partners. So that's a little bit more long-term on the roadmap. We plan to be the kind of exclusive developer, at least through these first 3 auxiliary loops. But I think in the future we'll be announcing some pretty cool stuff like hackathons and things that will come with grant funding out of the ecosystem fund for developers that the community vote on. So there's going to be a lot more exciting stuff on that front to be revealed down the road.
Okay, great. Thank you for answering the question. By the way, Aaron, how are we with time?
I'm good until the top of the hour. If
All
there's
right,
questions, keep
All
firing.
right, so we have 4 more questions.
Okay.
So this one is, will there be available PFP in unicorns we minted?
Yes, so that's actually a really good question, and one of the like small things around like what are we going to be doing with the community between sell and launch of the game. And
Right.
shout out to Matthew Holter, who has done most of our web design and development. I'm very, very happy both with the landing page as well as the Mint site, which people will get a look at on Monday after Mint. You're going to be able via that UI to view your eggs, to hatch the unicorns that you want to hatch after we enable that feature. And that's just the beginning of that site, that UI and that interface. So one of the features that will come shortly thereafter is a profile pic generator. We're also going to do some really cool things where as our art team produces a new animation cycle, obviously every unicorn, baby and adult have the same underlying 3D rig, right? They have, I've always described it as kind of a Mr. Potato Head. Lots of different parts and, skins and colors and things, but at the end of the day, same bone structure. So we'll be able to ship effectively a new animation of a unicorn doing something funny, and people will be able to download that as a GIF and share out. If you've read the white paper, you also know that when you have one of these assets in your wallet, you own it, you own the likeness to it, you have every ability with zero restrictions to, put that wherever you want, attempt to monetize it however you please. We took a very similar approach to Bored Ape Yacht Club's, NFT kind of ownership and terms of service and things of that nature, trying to give the community what I believe they deserve, which is true, real ownership over their assets. And I think that's going to be really exciting and kind of the way that, we're going to see most crypto kind of meets gaming companies head.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Okay, we still have time. The next question is, can we do a proof of attendance over today's AMA?
I think we can, but you're in charge on that front, Vanessa. So
Yep.
Your call.
Okay. All right
That's
then.
the power. Everybody bother Vanessa if you want it.
All right then. Will do. Guardians, can you please do something about that? Anyway, let's move on to the next question. I think earlier we talked about Axie, and this one is circling back to that. He's saying, speaking of Axie, what do you think about the scholarship system, and are we going to see it here?
The scholarship system, within Axie and really other games that, have elements of play and earn, I think is a really interesting shift in, how you distribute and on-ramp players into games. And so the TLDR is, obviously Gabby from YGG is an angel, or was an angel in our seed round. We're working very closely with them, GuildFi and others, to absolutely build and get their players into the crypto unicorns microverse, if you will. So there will be scholarship programs at the launch of the game, and we intend to work with the partners I mentioned as well as many others to certainly allow for that. We're actually going to be, I probably shouldn't say too much in case any of my engineers are here. We're going to be doing some things that I think improve the user experience relative to the kind of, how you loan out an Axie in today's world, and where scholars must kind of trust their kind of managers, if you will, to make payments. I think there's some ways via smart contracts to do that much more efficiently in a trustless manner that will actually kind of take out some of the hassle of managing scholarship teams and things. And anyway, I hope that not only enables the scholarship programs to kind of flourish within the crypto unicorns world, but also give us a really good opportunity to onboard people to the experience that may not necessarily have the upfront capital at start to participate day one.
Okay, thank you. So we don't have a lot of time, but it seems like we're getting a lot more questions now. There is a question I do want to ask you that I think is important. It says, how has your experience in mobile gaming affected your approach to this product? I mean, we all know that the business model is quite different, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in general there's excitement in kind of stepping away from the free-to-play monetization paradigm, if you will. It's kind of a game of tug of war. There's a misalignment of incentives. I think what was really special about free-to-play, not to poo-poo it too much, is it really radically evolved the distribution model, and it enabled games like Candy Crush and stuff to scale to 1 billion plus installs or whatever they have at this point. And we've seen free to play kind of eat and spread into all forms of gaming, not just mobile. And so it's very interesting to see what kind of started with mobile distribution when you could get an app to kind of anyone in the world's pocket. In this new way, and blockchain gaming kind of throws a lot of that out the window. Not everything. I think what's been interesting in the economy design, I kind of mentioned this earlier, like different levers and stuff that we've and how we've thought about economy design and like managing and maintaining and fostering growth within an economy. There's a lot of stuff you learn in free to play that I think is applicable, even though you have to kind of reshape the macro, your macro thesis on how to manage these open economies. As far as just mobile development is concerned, that's one of the really interesting things. Like we built mobile strategy MMOs, right? Where if I destroyed a PvE base on a world map with at scale in BSF, we had 22,000 concurrent players on a single world shard, and to be able to do that over mobile networks and people switching between 3G, 4G, and Wi-Fi and back, and once you've really had to not only build in mobile but ship and live operate a game, you learn a lot, and we're leveraging that very same tech stack, and so I think it gives us a number of advantages. Versus developers that are kind of just starting out. So I think we're taking a lot of what we've learned in the past, both from just a development perspective and having to ship and live operate mobile games, as well as from designing and kind of maintaining economies. And yes, those are command and control economies in mobile free to play, and it's certainly different from these player-owned, community-owned economies. But a lot of stuff does translate over, and I think gives us firm footing to and a good shot at success here in this space.
All right, thanks for everything, Aaron. It seems like we don't have time anymore. Is there anything else that you want to tell the community?
I think just in general, thanks to everyone for the trust and faith to date. I'm sure there will be ups and downs, but know that we're in it for the long term, and genuinely interested in building something incredible. I think as we've seen the community response to the really from the public announcement onward, it's just been a daily dose of motivation. I'm going to be much more frequently answering questions, and you'll see me in Discord as much as I possibly can, and don't hesitate to reach out as individuals have questions, comments, concerns. We're certainly going to hear them all. We'll take the ones that we genuinely believe are going to improve the experience. And once again, I'm very, very excited to just kind of enter this new world. It really is the wild, wild west. It's back to the old school Facebook Canvas days, but with a radically new economic paradigm. And I think that is, there's limitless potential here, and I'm very, very excited to explore the problem space with our community. So anyway, thank you everyone, on behalf of myself and the entire team at Laguna. We may have lost Vanessa.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, Aaron. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. We'll do another one soon.
Yep, definitely. Thanks, guys.
Bye, all.